Some children are raised with love. Some are raised as an audience. I was raised to clap, to agree, to disappear the moment I had a need of my own. This isn't a story about a villain in a movie. This is what happens when your own parent needs you to be smaller than them for their entire life. And by the time you realize what happened to you, you're already an adult, still performing for someone who was never really watching. Level 1. From the outside, my family looked perfect. My mother was elegant, charming, adored by everyone who met her. People used to tell me how lucky I was to have a mother like her. I used to wonder why that never felt true. Behind closed doors, the moment the guests left, something in her would shift, like a mask coming off. I learned very early that my job in this house was not to be a child. My job was to be useful. When I cried, she would ask why I was trying to ruin her evening. So I stopped crying where she could see. When I succeeded at something, it somehow always became her achievement, never mine. When I failed at something, it was never her fault for anything. It was always entirely mine. I became an expert at reading her mood before I even walked through the door. Survival becomes instinct fast. Other kids talked about their parents helping with homework. I don't remember her ever asking what I was learning. I used to think if I was just good enough, quiet enough, impressive enough, she would finally see me. She never hit me. She never needed to. Her silence could do more damage than anyone's hands ever could. My father was there, but he had learned long ago that agreeing with her was the only way to survive too. I grew up believing love was something you had to earn every single day and could lose in a single moment. By age 10, I had already learned to apologize for things that were never my fault. It just kept the peace. I told myself this was normal. Every family has hard days. I didn't yet know how wrong I was. But one afternoon, I overheard something through a cracked door that would change everything I believed about her, about us. Level 2. She was on the phone laughing, telling a friend a version of our family that didn't exist, a perfect version. She described herself as the perfect mother, selfless, devoted. I stood there wondering who she was talking about. That was the day I understood. The version of her the world saw, and the version I lived with, were two different people. I started testing the theory. I made a small mistake on purpose, just to see what would happen. Her reaction was instant, and it wasn't about the mistake. It was about how it made her look. I brought home a school project I was proud of. She glanced at it for 2 seconds before asking what she should wear to dinner. I stopped bringing things home to show her after that. It felt safer to just keep my wins to myself. At school, a counselor noticed I flinched whenever she raised her voice, even in fun. She asked me why. I told her everything was fine. I had already learned that talking about it made things worse at home. But that counselor planted a seed. She said, "Your feelings are allowed to matter too." Nobody had ever said that to me. That night I asked my father a simple question. Is Mom always right? His answer told me everything. He said, "It's easier if you just agree with her." That was the moment I realized he had given up a long time ago. I started keeping a small notebook, writing down things that happened, just so I could prove to myself I wasn't imagining it. Reading it back weeks later, the pattern was undeniable. This wasn't bad days. This was a system. I began to notice she did this to everyone. My father, her friends, even her own parents when they visited. My grandmother pulled me aside once and said quietly, she was like this even as a child. That surprised me. That night I couldn't sleep. If she had always been this way, then something was coming that I wasn't ready for. Level 3. By 14, I had become an expert performer, happy at home, hollow everywhere else. Teachers called me mature for my age. What they didn't know was that I'd never really been allowed to be young. My mother started involving me in adult conversations. No child should be part of venting about my father, about money, about her disappointments. I became her therapist before I even knew what that word meant. My own problems had nowhere to go. When I finally tried to talk about my own struggles, she redirected the conversation back to herself within minutes. I learned that my needs were an inconvenience, So eventually I just stopped having them out loud. At 16, I got my first real friendship where someone actually asked how I was doing and meant it. I didn't know how to answer honestly. I'd never practiced telling the truth about how I felt. That friendship became a mirror. For the first time, I saw what a normal relationship actually looked like. When I brought that friend home once, my mother charmed them instantly. My friend later said, "Your mom is so cool." I didn't correct them. Nobody ever believed me when I tried to explain her before. So I stopped trying. College applications became a battleground. She wanted me close. I wanted anywhere else. When I got accepted somewhere far away, she cried, not with pride, but with something that felt like loss of control. "After everything I've done for you," she said, "this is how you repay me?" I had heard that sentence my whole life. For the first time, I said something back, quietly but clearly. "I need to leave, Mom." Her expression changed instantly. Not sadness anymore. Something colder, something calculating. She said one sentence that night that would replay in my mind for years to come. I still hear it sometimes. Level 4. "You'll come back," she said. They always come back. I left the next morning anyway. College felt like breathing for the first time. But freedom came with a strange, unexpected guilt. She called constantly at first. Then the messages turned sharp. Then she stopped calling entirely for weeks. The silence was somehow worse than the calls. I found myself checking my phone constantly, waiting for something. A therapist on campus used a term I'd never heard before, narcissistic parent. I felt the floor shift under me. For the first time, everything had a name. It wasn't just a hard childhood. It had a pattern, a diagnosis. I started reading everything I could find. Every description felt like someone had been secretly watching my childhood. I finally called my father. I asked him directly. Did he know what she was doing to me all those years? His silence lasted almost 10 seconds. Then he said quietly, "I didn't know how to protect you without losing myself too." It wasn't the apology I wanted, but it was the first honest thing he'd ever said to me. I decided to set a boundary for the first time in my life. I told my mother I needed space, real space. Her response was exactly what the books had described: guilt, anger, then suddenly charm again. She sent gifts, long apologetic messages. Then, when those didn't work, she told relatives I had abandoned her. Relatives called me selfish, ungrateful. Nobody had lived inside that house. Only I truly knew. For the first time, I had to trust my own memory over an entire family's version of events. It was the loneliest kind of strength, being right, and still being called the villain by everyone who mattered. Then one afternoon, a single email arrived that would test everything I thought I had already healed from. Final level. The email was from her, just one line: "Your father is sick, come home." I didn't know if it was true or another test. I called my father directly this time, not her. His voice was weak but real. I booked a flight home that night. Walking back into that house felt like stepping into a memory I had worked so hard to leave behind. My father looked smaller than I remembered. Frail. For the first time, I saw him as simply human, not a symbol of failure. My mother stood in the doorway watching us, and for a moment, I saw something rare in her. Genuine fear. Fear of losing him. And maybe, quietly, fear of losing the only audience she had left. In the hallway later, she tried the old tactics. Guilt, tears. "You were always the strong one. I need you now." For the first time, I recognized the pattern in real time as it was happening. And it lost its power over me. I said, "I'm here for him, not for a performance." It was the most honest sentence I had ever said to her. She didn't have a response prepared for that. For once, the silence belonged to her. My father recovered slowly over the following weeks. Our conversations became simpler, more honest than they'd ever been. He told me something I'll never forget. "You broke a pattern that existed in this family for 3 generations." I didn't fully understand the weight of that sentence until years later, when I became a parent myself. The first time my own child cried, I felt an old instinct rise up to say, "Stop ruining this." I caught myself. Instead, I knelt down and said, It's okay to feel that. I'm right here. Nobody had ever said that to me as a child. I used to believe love had to be earned. My child is growing up knowing love was never something to perform for. I was raised to serve someone else's reflection. I chose instead to become someone my own child never has to survive. That is the only inheritance that ever truly mattered.